He's seen me nude more times than I can count. But as I stand with my underwear below my buttocks, I feel naked in the most vulnerable of ways. On the upper quadrant of my right butt cheek, a 3-inch ovicular patch adheres to my delicate skin. It has the consistency of a Band-Aid, except its core contains numbing cream. And we paid $300 for this motherfucker, so it better fucking work, is what I think, as he gently peels back the sticky bondage, careful not to pinch hair or flesh. That's about when the numbing cream begins to thaw out and the bitch assness begins to kick in. I turn my body at the waist, peek over my right shoulder, and discover the antagonist resting on our Lysol-wiped living room table. It's the size of a ballpoint pen, and its tip is the length of a toothpick. Is that the needle? I screech with wide eyes and hand over heart. Don't look at it, he says, while covering the villain with the cup of his hand. Who I am today isn't who I was before being diagnosed with PCOS. That's polycystic ovarian syndrome. Basically, I have lots of follicles or eggs, but I don't ovulate regularly, if at all, for any of them to release and become fertilized. Had I known it was this difficult to get pregnant without science, I might have had a lot more fun in my 20s. Instead, I tried to plan every aspect of my life, collecting degrees and dream jobs. These days, I dare not plan things too far in advance. I avoid deep conversations with strangers, new acquaintances, or even old friends if I think they're going to bring up the topic of expanding my family. My faith has dwindled to a mustard seed. My therapist seems to think that's okay. And I've surrendered the control I've always had over everything in my life that I've come to realize I never really had at all. A lot has changed since the naive days of newly married optimism. For 3 years, my husband and I have been on a TTC, or trying to conceive, journey that included a 1.5 years of natural TTC, 4 failed rounds of letrozole, and 2 failed attempts at IUIs. That's intrauterine insemination. This is our first time self-administering this particular fertility medication. Intramuscular progesterone oil injections help to thicken the uterine lining to support embryo implantation and healthy development. IVF patients like me begin taking daily vaginal progesterone suppositories and progesterone oil shots a week or so before embryo transfer. And if we're lucky enough to fall pregnant, we continue to take 3 pills up the vagina and 1 shot in the bum every day through our first trimester. The reality of taking it in the ass for another 8 to 10 weeks sets in. I don't want a baby, I say, with a think I'm playing if you want to facial expression. I'm good, I double down, while stepping away from the man I love so deeply and the transgressor he still holds in his hands. He doesn't flinch. Although I think I mean business, he knows deep down I don't. After 7 rounds of various fertility treatments and nearly $26,000 invested, resulting in 4 frozen embryos, one of whom will be thawed in a week and implanted in my uterus, my husband knows we did not come this far for me to quit. Now, if I can just stop jittering and be a motherfucking G. I start jumping up and down, shaking my hands and head, taking deep auditory breaths. I imagine I look like a football player pumping himself up for a big game, only he could never be this fearful and this fierce. 10 minutes and an ice pack later, I take the ass shot. The toothpick length needle pierces my fleshy, voluptuous cheek tissue, and I feel nothing but pain. The physical pinch and then sharpness, the psychological anger and then frightness of this now ritual. We're done, he says, as a thunderous cry bursts from my exhale and sobs penetrate my body. I gather my tears and retreat to my side of the bed, burying my head in my pillow and weeping with an intensity I haven't felt since I was 9 years old back in Northwest Baltimore. I had been roller skating with my friends when I tripped on crooked concrete, fell and scraped my stomach. My homegirls stood around me with helplessness in their eyes. Little Black girls where I'm from learned pretty early how not to show vulnerability. Consequently, we often lack the ability to comfort someone in pain. Truth is, the scrape on my stomach wasn't that painful. I was probably just shocked by the blood. Now I lie in shock, not so much from the pain, but the plan to endure it for 8 to 10 weeks. Another sacrifice of my body, mind, and peace. Maybe that's why I've developed this shameful rage against joyful pregnant women who didn't struggle to conceive. Yep, fertile women annoy the fuck out of me. Bitch, don't nobody give a fuck about your fetus that you naturally conceived when you sneezed in your partner's direction, or your gentle hand nestled ever so lightly around your 39-week baby bump you keep complaining about on Facebook with the countdown caption that now reads, eviction notice. Tenant has 1 week to vacate the premises before forced removal. That shit is corny, not cute. Bitch, don't nobody want to hear TMI stories about how you were in labor for 162 hours and then they had to still end up doing a C-section. But by then you had already torn your coochie wide open, shitted all over yourself and peed a little. And girl, it's been 23 weeks postpartum, but your stitches still itches. And ooh, girl, don't make you laugh because your guts might fall out. Newsflash, I ain't got no labor war stories to exchange. 6 months ago, 6 months before this IVF treatment, I took a much needed break from all of this. I archived all my Pinterest baby boards, deleted my list of potential baby names. Drank an occasional glass of wine or champagne. Stopped crushing prenatal vitamins in my applesauce, oatmeal, or Greek yogurt, and took a girls' trip to the beach that didn't require careful planning around appointments and injections. No lubed wands stuck up my vagina, pressed against my ovaries. No lobby waits for subpar medical care, fertilized by systemic racism. I surrounded myself with people and things that drew light. And I was lifted out of darkness. I felt normal again. Now, I don't. Now, I lie weeping on my side of the bed as my husband consoles me. Hand on my lower back, he whispers positive affirmations and promises to do more research on ways to make the shots less painful. The next day, he honors his promise, injecting the needle closer to the hip where there is less fat. With each day, he learns something new that makes the process more bearable. Applying a heating pad to my site injection, preheating the medicine by tucking the syringe under his armpit, gently massaging out the medicine-induced lumps beneath my skin. Growing up, I witnessed my mother make a way out of no way while rearing 2 children on her own. She taught me that Black women rule the block. My absentee father taught me men ain't shit. But my husband's deep kindness and his solid, loving support gives me hope that I can bring a child into a world that's a little easier for them than it was for me growing up. Every night, I am in awe of the man I sure hope will become my child's father. Every night, my mustard seed faith grows as I get a glimpse of the parents we will hopefully one day be. Tenacious, together, and in love.
That was beautiful.